New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb, and I serve as the Senior Minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland, outside of Washington, and I'm also the author of a number of books, including The Soul of Prosperity, Prosperity from A to Z, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, 30 P's for Prosperity, and Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board. And I've got another one on the way. So every Sunday evening, we get together and we talk about an aspect of prosperity. Sometimes we talk about an aspect of prosperity that has been overlooked. Other times we talk about some of the standard aspects of prosperity, such as professional prosperity, where we have a wonderful job with wonderful pay, where we provide a wonderful service in a wonderful way, a la Florence Scovel Shen. We may talk about relationship prosperity, where we have developed such a relationship with ourselves of inner harmony, unconditional loving acceptance, and inner supportiveness that our outer relationships reflect that inner consciousness, and we have harmonious, supportive, loving relationships in our world. We may discuss aspects of spiritual prosperity, where, for example, tonight we'll be discussing the peace that passes all understanding. Now, this is an area of prosperity that is not explored as much as possible. We take it for granted. However, this is an aspect of prosperity that can be cultivated and must be maintained in order for any other type of prosperity to be made manifest in a way that is sustainable. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about prosperity through peace, or peace through prosperity. And I've got a special guest here to discuss this with us. Reverend Christy Semple is a minister with the Science of Mind Church. She's a licensed practitioner, and she hosts a show on the New Thought Media Network called, help me with the name of the show, because I can't read my own notes.
Oh, Peace Dialogues.
Peace Dialogues, thank you. And now, if I could read my notes, or if I had printed this in 20-point type, I would have gotten that. Peace Dialogues. So we're glad to have you, Reverend Christy. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Oh, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we're thankful to have our guests too. So our guests and listeners, if you'd like to just let us know you're here by saying hello in the comments, that's wonderful too. But for us, Reverend Christy, let's have a little chat about peace. Now, I always say that peace is a consciousness we must cultivate. But for me, that's a figure of speech. However, for you, you have actually used your experience with horticulture, and it has taught you a number of lessons on cultivating peace. Do you want to tell our viewers about that, first of all, how you got to this peace ministry?
Oh, thank you. Yes, indeed. Yes, well, peace, the garden of peace. I love these metaphors of garden and in our world, and the garden of peace and sowing the seeds of peace each day. And it reminds us that peace is multifaceted, just like prosperity is multifaceted. And so as we sow the garden of peace, as we sow seeds of awareness, of openness, of receptivity, of recognition, of the whole idea of enoughness, as we think and go about our day, all of those seeds nurture peace and prosperity. Again, all the many facets of each of those, nurturing those each day, what we think and do.
Yes. So how can we see some of the seeds of peace, and what are some of the peace seeds that you would recommend that anyone sow?
That's a good question. Because peace, when you think about it, peace can be so vast, and sometimes it feels overwhelming. But peace is the feeling of, and it's interwoven with the other qualities of spirit. For example, with love, sowing seeds of respect, awareness, compassion, listening, patience. Those are all of those are facets of peace. And to sow seeds and understanding, openness, receptivity. It's like sowing a garden of all different kinds of flowers. And peace is, because those are all facets of ourselves.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, in A Course in Miracles, there's a lesson. I could see peace instead of this. And it has to do with focusing our awareness on our desired state and focusing our awareness on our inner state, as opposed to getting wrapped around the axle by anything outside of us and choosing that inner consciousness. Now, that for some may seem simplistic. I could choose peace instead of this. What are your thoughts on that, Reverend Christy?
I love that. And there is a song, and I'm trying to remember the artist that sings "I Can See Peace." Maybe Karen Drucker. Because when you hear it as a song, it helps you to use that as an affirmation. I can see peace instead of this. And I'll go back to a garden. I love these stories where they will show a field, for example. Perhaps it might be in the city where a building had been, and it had become overgrown. And somebody looks at that and said, I can see beauty instead of this. I can see abundance of flowers instead of this, just as we can see abundance in other aspects of our life. And so I can see peace instead of this. It is knowing what is behind it all. We understand what we're seeing before us, but behind it all, I can see peace instead of this. I can see beauty instead of this. It is that knowing and that feeling and the imagination as well.
And the will to get to the divine essence. A Course in Miracles, and what we do, one of the things we do on this show is we relate things to A Course in Miracles to make that more accessible. So one of the things A Course in Miracles talks about is how we project all our inner stuff into the world, and we see a reflection of it. So any chaos we see in the outer world is a projection of what we think the world is, if we think the world is chaotic, if we think we are guilty and undeserving, and if we think there is a wicked, hostile God that is creating an
Yes.
obstacle course of pain and suffering in order for us to atone for our, quote, sins. So if that's the world we believe, if that's the world we see, if that's the world we project, if that's the world we participate in, A Course in Miracles says, there is another world I want to see. And this is a corollary to the lesson, I could see peace instead of this. There is another world beyond this, for this is just a projection of my mind when my mind has run amok. So if I hear you correctly, you're saying something similar. You're saying that behind all the chaos, behind all the confusion, behind all of the things that we project out in our world in terms of we are not enough, that then get reflected back to us, there
Yes.
is the loving essence in all things. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, yes, yes. And you're reminding me of a story of what we project and how we think the world is. And when I first came to the Science of Mind, and I was in the midst, I'd been looking for a job for a year, and in my mind, I had the idea that it's hard to find a job. That was the idea that I have, and that is what I
That was
was.
the projection.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
And I had tried everything that they're supposed to try, and had not demonstrated a job. And so when I started in the Science of Mind, I started taking classes, and the idea of possibility and infinite possibility and the abundance of opportunity, and recognizing that. And I started thinking differently about myself, the good that I am, the enoughness that I am of skill, of ability, and the enoughness, the abundance of opportunity out there. And after a couple of months, this was 20 some years ago. You still would pick up the newspaper and look in the want ads. And an idea came to me to look in a different section that I had never looked in before. And there was an ad that jumped out. And as it turned out, and I got the job, as it turned out, that ad was placed in the wrong category. But infinite intelligence, wisdom inspired me I thought, oh, I'm going to look over here in this particular category. I thought, I love the sound of this. And so it just reminded me of learning about infinite. I thought I had exhausted all possibility, but remembering possibility. Or it can be peace. I can see peace instead of this possibility. Okay.
So if I hear you correctly, one of the skills for maintaining peace is looking past the appearance. We have a thing where we say, pray past the appearance. Don't pray the sickness, pray the healing. Pray past the experience. Pray past the appearance. Don't pray the lack, pray the abundance. Pray past the experience. Don't pray the past, pray the possibilities. So am I hearing you correctly in saying that that's one of the things that can help us to cultivate a consciousness of peace, looking past the experience?
Oh, indeed, indeed. And I'm reminded of another song. I love New Thought music because it gives ideas and affirmation. I'm thinking of a song by Daniel Nemeth, The Truth Behind It All, about the stuff we're really made of. God is light and so are we. God is love and so are we. And it just reminds us the truth behind it all. Behind it all, it's that recognition, that peace.
Yes, I want to piggyback on that, because there is a lesson in A Course in Miracles. God is but love, and so am I. And the word but in that lesson does a whole lot of work. God is only love and not anything else. And so we are only love and not anything else. And so when we filter out all the unloving chatter, when we filter out all the unloving memories, we filter out all the unloving energy, there is only one thing left, and that is the powerful creative energy of love.
Oh, and when we start practicing that, and it's that awareness and recognition. And then when we recognize just what you're talking about, I think, oh, it just opens us up. I think, oh my goodness, what I've been, what a beautiful way to know and to understand that I didn't know before, and the difference that it makes in our lives.
Yes. So you mentioned a term there several times, and I would like our viewers to kind of grab onto this as well. You mentioned practice several times.
Mhm.
And practice, if I understand you, you're referring to a daily spiritual
Yes.
practice of meditation,
Mhm.
awareness, receptivity to connecting with the divine mind. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes. Oh, and thank you for asking about that because, oh, yes, the daily practice and the difference that it makes. Not waiting until you think you need it, if you will, but the
Yeah,
daily practice. And
yeah,
oh, certainly with with meditation and prayer and reading and again music. I love to listen to music because
yeah,
it's present with an idea to work
yes,
with. And
absolutely.
you too.
You know what else I find? Oh, absolutely. I call it Motown metaphysics because one of the
Oh,
things, yes, one of the
I
things
love
that I do, yes,
that.
I take popular songs
Mm,
and I imagine those popular songs as divine messages. And I'll give you an example. Ray Parker, you can't change that. You can change your telephone number, but you can change your address too, but you can't stop God from loving you. No, you can't change that. So
mm,
what I do is I won't tell you the origin of this of how I learned to do this, but what I've learned to do is take a popular song that's already memorized, it's already deeply embedded in my consciousness. So then it's not a heavy lift and change it to as not a love song from a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy, but as a love song from God to us.
oh,
And that makes it so simple to stay in or get back in the
mm,
flow of
mhm,
love and in the awareness of love's presence, no matter what's going on outside. Just start humming
mhm,
that song. And it's like, okay,
mhm.
I'm going to let God sing a love song. Meaning, in other words, as you say, I'm going to open my energy to the divine inflow, the divine influx, the divine idea, the divine energy, the divine healing, the divine transformation, and an awareness of the divine in me, through me, as me. And
Oh,
so I use
yes.
songs that way too.
Oh, I love that. I heard a talk recently, and it was the nature of the talk was, "What is your song?" In other
Yeah.
words, what is your song? Sometimes we get pulled to think a song that it is not nurturing, perhaps, but what is
Mhm.
your song that you go to, just like what you're saying,
Yeah.
that guides you, that brings you back? And it could be popular music. As you said, Motown, I love that, or New Thought music, but there are ideas and something that resonates. And
Yeah.
oh, I think, oh, this I go to that, and
And it's,
you know,
it's easier if it's already a part of your consciousness
yes,
because you don't have to forklift it in. It's like
yes,
already there. You're
mhm,
already vibrating with this. Just change it a little and you're vibrating with it at a higher level because
mhm.
it's from God to you.
Oh, that's right, that's right. There's a beautiful song, one that Melissa Philippe. I am
Yes.
remembering who I am. That is one I am remembering. That
Mm,
just that brings me back.
yeah.
Um, and or Eddie Watkins Jr. God
Mhm,
is, I am, and God is the place where I show
mhm.
up. Those are wonderful affirmations that bring
Absolutely.
us back. Hmm.
Absolutely. So we can use song to cultivate a consciousness of peace. We can use our daily spiritual practice to cultivate a consciousness of peace. And we can understand that peace is there. It is not something
Yes.
it doesn't have to be found. It has
Hmm.
to be arrived at because it's already there. And we arrive at it by moving through discounting the clutter and recognizing the clutter as man-made mess, not God-created truth.
Mm.
Is that
Oh,
right?
oh, that's a good point. Hmm. That's
Okay.
it. Sometimes some wonderful new things come along. I just learned about practitioner I think this is Huntington Beach Center developed this, and it's called One Daily Minute, and it's
Mm-hmm.
the number one dailyminute.org. And she
Mm-hmm.
developed this to for 1 minute, take 1 minute and imagine. Well, as she described, imagine a better world. And
Mm.
that could be for someone who's just starting this, or it could be someone who, to begin this, to start your spiritual practice for the day, or
Yes.
to bring us back around. But there are so many wonderful tools out there that support and inspire our regular spiritual practices. One daily minute.
One daily minute. I love that. And I want to drill down on that deeper. And I want to drill down on another word that you said that I would love for our audience to embrace a little bit more. And that was enoughness as a tool for peace and prosperity. So we'll get to those, but on the other side of the break here on the New Thought Media Network.
Oh, yes. And
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. With Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
The Heal Your Life Workshop Facilitator and Life Coach Certification Training, approved personally by Louise Hay, is coming to San Diego, facilitated by expert trainers Christy Dixon and Anna Milkick. This 3.5-month training includes multiple sessions on Zoom and 9 days in beautiful San Diego. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform their lives.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
And we're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity. And tonight we're discussing peace, prosperity through peace. And our special guest is Reverend Christy Semple, a New Thought Media Network host with her show on peace, Peace Talks, and a practitioner and ordained minister with the Science of Mind churches. So, Reverend Christy, one of the things you mentioned that I think would be very useful for our viewers is this concept of enoughness as a means through which to experience peace. And our viewers, I want to remind them that they can also pipe in with questions, thoughts, or comments as well. But can you talk to us a little bit more about enoughness as a portal for peace?
oh, that's a wonderful question. Enoughness is a powerful idea. And sometimes we might not realize how it relates to so many aspects of our lives and relates to peace. For example, I saw someone the other day that I hadn't seen for a while. And she started talking about all kinds of different activities that they were doing, all these travels and all these, a couple homes that they had and so forth. And as I was listening to her, I thought, I started doubting myself. I thought, maybe I'm not doing enough interesting things. It's that idea of enoughness. And you can
Yeah.
get yourself unsettled,
Yes.
and when you start thinking of yourself as not enough in any way, that
Yes.
affects your sense of peace and
Yes.
well-being. And it
Yeah.
could be enoughness. It could be, again, that's just, I mean, in everyday life examples, you bump into someone but if it's enough of anything, it doesn't have to be money substance, although that we certainly think about that. But
Mhm.
as we know, prosperity, it's activities, it's love, it's so many facets of life. And so that
Yeah.
enoughness, and how when we know ourselves as enough, I am enough. I'm an expression of the one.
So
And
let's
how,
go down on
Mhm.
that a little bit. When we feel we are not enough, we feel as if there is not enough. We feel as if we lack the capacity
Yes.
for our good. We feel guilty. We feel undeserving. And all of
Mhm.
those feelings uh, get outpictured in our lives. So
Yes.
feeling enough is feeling worthy, is feeling deserving, is being in an energy of accepting the good that the
Mhm.
universe has to
Yes.
offer. Would that be an accurate way to phrase it?
Oh, indeed. And accepting really has a significant effect on how we feel about ourselves and the inner peace that we have, and that
Yeah,
we emanate out
right.
into the world. So that's a very, yes, you captured it very well.
Okay, so maintaining or attaining and then maintaining a consciousness of enoughness is synonymous, if I'm hearing you correctly, with maintaining and attaining a consciousness of peace. And it's all different aspects of attaining and maintaining a consciousness of oneness with the divine
Yeah.
substance, the divine flow, the infinite intelligence, the infinite love, the infinite wisdom, the infinite grace, and the infinite power of God, and recognizing that all of those infinitudes
Hmm.
are within us,
Yes.
nothing else and nothing
Yes.
less. Is that I'm just playing around with words. Is that
Oh,
what you
it's
mean?
very good. It's very good because I'm glad that you brought all that together, and you brought in one, is because when we feel not enoughness, that's separation. We're feeling separated, aren't we? And
Right.
so,
And
just to,
can I just jump in for a moment?
yes,
Because when we are separate from God, we are separate from love, we are separate from the fullest extent of the
yes,
creative flow available to us. And if you're only creating with half a deck, you're only going to create half a loaf, right?
right, right. Oh no, that's very good. You've brought it together very well. Oh, thank you. Hmm.
Yeah, I just want our viewers to kind of understand why developing and maintaining this consciousness is so important to every aspect of prosperity.
Well, that's right. And I think sometimes we don't realize I'm going to say, the far reaching effect, I'm going to say, of peace.
Yeah.
And we always bring together peace and prosperity, or
Yeah.
peace. Right, right. And when we realize how that works together, it just reminds us of the beautiful interconnection of everything in life.
Yes.
Hmm.
Exactly. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a lesson in A Course in Miracles, lessons 103, 104, 102. God, being love, is happiness. When we understand that the essence of God is love, when we understand the essence of us is God, then we understand that happiness is our default state in alignment with God. And what you are saying is that peace, which is an aspect of God, is the result of that alignment of God, and also thus brings happiness. And so
Right.
peace is a portal for prosperity.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
so cool.
Oh, that connection is a profound connection, and that way, when we understand that, we have a greater understanding of both
Yeah.
prosperity and peace. When we understand how there's that interconnection.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to invite our viewers to send in some questions or comments. We're going to go to break and give them an opportunity to do so.
All right.
And when we come back from break, we're going to discuss any questions or comments that they send in, and we're going to talk about a couple of other good things. And we'll be back here on the New Thought Media Network.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Ohm Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
The Heal Your Life Workshop Facilitator and Life Coach Certification Training, approved personally by Louise Hay, is coming to San Diego. Facilitated by expert trainers Christy Dixon and Anna Milkick. This 3.5-month training includes multiple sessions on Zoom and 9 days in beautiful San Diego. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform their lives.
What would Louise say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And we're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity with Reverend Christy Semple, who is the weekly host of the Peace Dialogues podcast here on the New Thought Media Network. And Reverend Christy, talking to you is like mining a gold mine. There are all these veins of gold that I want to explore. And one of the things I want to explore with our viewers is this Global Heart of Peace initiative. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you for asking about that. That is, it's an initiative of Centers for Spiritual Living. It is under the umbrella of the Global Outreach Committee. And it started, the Global Heart of Peace, as providing meditation, recorded meditations on they're available through the New Thought Media Network and on YouTube to offer a tool to people for the practice of inner peace. Yes. And what has happened, the committee has grown, and we've opened up to recognize and celebrate the many facets of peace, to see the many ways peace not only is the quiet and the reflection, but activity, the beingness out in the world. And through so many expressions, whether it's service, doing service out in the community, whether, again, the doing part, I'll say the doing part of it, but I mean that in whatever, it could be.
The doing part spawned by the inner peace that has been
That's right.
developed before.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. To expand our awareness of peace. And so we offer a lot of tools now, in addition to meditation, for people to use. And what we actually have a 15-minute segment on the New Thought Media Network that's posted on Mondays. It's pre-recorded, where people talk about the many facets of peace and activities and practices that they do to nurture that within and emanate that out in the world. So it's broadening our awareness, our understanding, our beingness, to remind us that peace is right there, right? As you said, it's right there. And it can shine through us, and we can feel it in so many ways.
Wonderful. In other words, to see peace, you must be peace. To be peace, you must cultivate that consciousness. You cultivate that consciousness by becoming still and aware of of your intrinsic nature as light, as divine, as whole, and as holy. And inherent in your intrinsic divine nature is the peace that you are.
Yes.
Because the conflict comes from thinking you got to be this, you got to be that, you got to be this, you're not enough of that. And before you know it, all of those things are out picturing in your world. Now, one of the other things that is fascinating about our talk is that we've not once mentioned the outer world. And that is so very good for our viewers to understand, because we keep wanting to look out into the world and make the world peaceful. And I always think of that song, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me."
Yes.
If we want to experience peace in the world, we must cultivate that peace from within. Am I hearing you correct? When everything we've said has to do with inner peace?
Oh, yes, it does. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
That's where it starts, to nurture that, to recognize it, to allow that. And again, that shining out in the world.
Yes. Now, one other thing I want to discuss is, how would you recommend to our viewers that they process any discordant feelings that stand between them and their peace?
Yes, I'm happy to answer. Can you hear me? I know you don't see me for a reason that I...
Yes, hi, I'm Reverend Michael, one of the producers. Yeah, Reverend Christy, we don't see you.
I'm not sure why. I don't know if I'm not getting an indication that I have internet connection problems. I do apologize.
Check on your on below. It says, did you press on your? Make sure that you have your video up or on.
Okay.
Why don't you log in? Oh, there she is. Okay, good. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry for the technical glitch, viewers. Reverend Christy's back.
Here we are.
We were discussing how can we process any inner discordant feelings in order to attain and sustain the inner consciousness and energy and emanation of peace, so that it can then show up in our outer world. Reverend Christy?
Oh, it's a good question, because each day we can see or experience things that we may feel may throw us off. And so to have those core practices, to even in the midst of all kinds of things, to go into a spiritual treatment or prayer, that the difference that can make, and to have key affirmations that we say, and to have a song, that we affirm to ourselves. I am reminded of the, as so many people saw, the Buddhist walk for peace.
Yes.
And how beautiful that was. And the reminder, today is my peaceful day. Do you know that key idea that we can go back to it? And there's a feeling that goes with that.
Yes.
And something like that can bring us back to
that feeling. And that's what I want to, and that's the vein of gold that I want to mine a little more for our viewers.
Yes.
Getting back to that feeling. There was an old song by Barry Manilow, something about trying to get the feeling back, but we won't go there. I want to talk about when we sit, when we meditate, when we allow the inflow, the influx of divine energy because we open to it and it reminds us in places that we forgot. We get back to the feeling of peace. We get back to the feeling of enoughness. We get back to the feeling of love. We get back to the feeling of being embraced. We get back to the feeling of not being alone. And as Neville Goddard says, the feeling that we have is the energy that we emanate, and the energy that we emanate is that which we attract. So getting back to that feeling is so very important. And you know what I forgot? I forgot that I did a book back in 1999 called Pathways to Inner Peace. And one of the key chapters in that book, which is why I forklifted it and literally forklifted it from that book and put it into the prosperity book. One of the key chapters was a process of emotional release to get back to it. But you brought it out, you reminded us of this when you talked about getting back to the an important, if I heard you correctly, you said a part of the process is getting back to the feeling. Not the idea of peace, not the esoteric thought of peace, but the inner feeling of peace. And that's why sitting is important. Did I hear that right?
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did. And as you're saying that, I'm reminded also another practice that is part of that, can be part of that, is the loving kindness meditation.
Yes.
Because the feeling that goes with that, the feeling that loving kindness for yourself, for someone that you know that is near and dear, for someone that you don't know, or someone that you may be experiencing difficulty with. And that is where you go to that feeling of, of love.
The feeling, because the feeling is the force that manifests.
Yes.
You know, that there's this place that is, you know, if you think of Venn diagrams, this place between the heart chakra, which lets love in, which is the, in essence, the creative substance, and the solar plexus, which is the feeling center, where the love then is transformed by the feeling center into an energy that then is emanated. So it's the feeling that we emanate that manifests our experiences. So we have to get back to the feeling of peace. So thank you for that wonderful insight. Thank you for that wonderful insight. And so with that, I really do appreciate you stopping by and spending time with us. And I know you've got your podcast on Peace Dialogues. What other things are you working on these days?
Oh, thank you. Well, you know, this happens when we do podcasts and we get ideas and think, oh, a workshop. How about a workshop? And that related to these ideas. So I'm putting together a workshop related to this whole idea of growing the garden of peace. Yes. So doing a workshop. And I'm also, I am a member of the prayer team at the New Thought Media Network. And so that is something else that I do, which is a beautiful and powerful experience. And so, you know, that's an active part of my ministry as well, and talks. But the newest development is with the workshop that I'm inspired with, Peace Dialogues. And again, that's growing the garden of peace, because it's something we've all seen, we can relate to, and certainly Ernest Holmes uses the metaphor of gardens a lot.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful way to learn and practice these ideas. And so how about you? What are some new things that you're working on?
Well, I'm working on a new book, Magical Manifestation Techniques. And some of them actually we've done on the show, but it's a new book that is full of different new techniques that we can use to manifest our good. And of course, I also have a workshop that's going on right now, which is sold out. However, you can still get the recordings for this workshop. And it's a twofer, 2 classes for the price of 1. The first is Beyond Channeling, Spiritual Transformation. And it's based on the premise and our experience that as we grow spiritually, we literally channel the light of God, the light of love, the light of healing, and the light of grace. We channel it to us and through us until we become that light. And so that light is what transforms us from our fear-based ego consciousness to our love-based higher self. And so this class is 8 weeks of experiencing that love light, allowing it to transform us, and living from the perspective, the energy, and living with the confidence and the peace of that higher self. So it's beyond channeling the energy of spirit to be our highest selves and transforming into our highest selves. So it's a powerful growth and development class. And it is going in concert with my other class, which is on Thursday nights. And that other class, which is on Thursday nights, is Spirit Speaks on Healing the Inner Child. Because if you do not heal your inner child will continue to run and ruin your life, because so many of our unconscious hesitations, unconscious motivations, and our unconscious self-sabotaging behaviors emanate from our inner child. So in this channeled class, where I channel my guides and teachers, they work with each individual in the class, but many of the issues that they work with are issues that we all have, on healing those aspects of our consciousness so that our inner child cannot ruin and wreck our lives, so that we can live from the perspective of our highest selves versus living from the perspective of the wounded inner child. So these two work together. Now they're sold out. However, for $100, anyone can get the recordings of all these classes. That's 16 recordings. And you can work with them on your own time at your own pace. And that is available to everyone still. So those are the things I'm working on. And they're both quite exciting. I'm really crunching on this book. I'm loving it. And I think you'll love it too. It'll be out on September 1st. So that's what I'm working on. But thank you for asking. But Reverend Christy, I just thank you for sharing your precious time with us today.
Oh, I'm so grateful to be here. And I'm going to share one more nugget, and I meant to include this. Yes. And this is an idea. This is from Catherine Ponder, one of the great teachers of prosperity, and reminding us of the prospering power of prayer, the prospering power of praise and blessing. And so that's something both those practices, certainly prayer and blessing and praise, how that can bring us back when we're seeing and feeling challenged.
Absolutely. I call it pray the mess away. Pray the mess away. And I call it pray the mess away, because quite often we look outside of us and we all see all kinds of mess. And that lesson in A Course in Miracles, I could see peace instead of this. Well, that pathway to peace begins with prayer and the affirmative prayer, where the first part being opening to the highest power, the highest love, the highest energy, the highest vibration, which we know to be God. And that first part of affirmative prayer being opening to that, acknowledging that, invoking that, inviting that, drawing that vibration down to us and drawing us up to that vibration. The second part being unifying with that vibration, God is love. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is infinite wisdom. I open to this infinite flow of wisdom. God is infinite peace. So I open to the peace that God created as me, and I could see peace instead of this. So with that invocation and that bonding, with that invocation and that unification, we get to that place of power, the place of affirmation. And in that place of affirmation, we pray past all the appearances that got us all upset in the first place, but we see the peace instead of it. We pray the peace. We pray the energy of the peace. We pray the outcome of the peace. We pray the feeling of the peace. This is what peace looks like. This is what peace feels like. This is what peace tastes like. This is how we move through the world in peace. And we affirm that. And then, of course, the last part is we release that to the universe that it might come back to us and draw us to its reflection. And with thanksgiving. So that aspect of affirmative, thank you for bringing this up. That aspect of affirmative prayer, pray the mess away, can be a way to get us to peace. So thank you for bringing that up.
No, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, so powerful.
Yes, and thank you so much for being here as our guest here on the Miracle of Prosperity on the New Thought Media Network. We thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening. And for our viewers, thank you for joining us. Everyone, have a wonderful evening. Good night.
Thank you.